and we will make America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Wake up, America. It's time for another night class here at the Conservative College. You have found the safest place on planet Earth for all true red-blooded, freedom-loving MAGA warriors. And I am your humble, neighborhood friendly professor and fluffy professor, Professor Toto. I am so glad to have you in class tonight. I have missed you all week long, and you all look so beautiful tonight. Even though I can't see you with my eyes, I can see you with my heart. And I appreciate you. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, 4 or 5 whole days. But going to be a great class tonight. I don't even know where to start tonight. There is so much to talk about. My monologue this evening is entitled, The Demons at Davos. You do not want to miss the monologue. Make sure that you get the word out. Many of you have often asked, what can we do to help increase your audience, Professor Toto? Right now, there's something that every one of you could do, unless you're watching on Roku or FHTV. All the rest of you could simply share. If you're watching on Facebook right now, if you hit that share button, we would immediately increase our audience. So if you're watching right now and you want to do us a big favor, that would be a great one to do. I'm going to take 60 seconds while you're sharing and say hello to my friends tonight. Friends like Angela Zialo. And, somebody said we're not on Rumble. Let me check. Let's make sure that we're on Rumble. Hold tight, everybody. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, we're on Rumble. I see it. Okay. So good evening to Angela Jody Burgo from Louisiana. That's my home state, Jody. Nancy DeWitt, good evening, Sister Nancy. Sharon Hypes, good evening. Mark Stevens, thank you, Mark. I appreciate the compliment on my shirt. Alan shares, amen. God bless you, Brother Alan. Bob Tabor from Beaufort, Georgia. Don the Man, that's from Utah. Brother Don, so glad y'all made it home safely. They flew down this weekend to be in church with us. Wow, that was great. Natalie Conway from YouTube. Don the Man, Natalie. Let's see. Decker's Bows from Pennsylvania. Wilbur Cowart that's Allison Wilbur from Fort Payne, Alabama. Michelle Heston. Brother Alan Trost. Wow. Melinda Jorgensen, Danny Moore. Robert McLeod. Now let's run over to Rumble. Say hello to Katie, Sponge Girl, Mama Z, Bandit Bunner, Habbo Jack, Sue Shipman. Good evening to you, C. Kager, Justina Morgan, T. Lucko, Aussie. Oh, yeah. That sounds good to me, brother. Oh, wow. And let's run over to FHTV. Say hello to everybody on my favorite spot on the interweb, which is fhtv.tv. Can't get on FHTV. We've been having a lot of problems. FHTV is down right now. Oh, my word. We were attacked a few nights ago, and we have just been fighting to get FHTV. Oh, it says they're back. Hallelujah. Let's look and see. Nope. So that's been quite a dilemma for us. But the good news is all of our content is safe. It's just been very rough getting FHTV back up, but we're sure hoping it won't be very long from now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to do tonight, somebody said, is your microphone on? The volume is low. Okay. Let's see. Is the volume, I'm sorry, the volume is low. Hello, Linda Andreas and Doreen Anaquich and Renee Linscomb. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Y'all let me know when the sound gets right so we can start class. Someone said the volume was real low. Very low. Okay. Sounds fine. Sounds good. Volume was great. Okay. Not sure. Anyway, all right. Trying to make everybody happy this evening. Make sure everybody can hear. Good. There we go. Sounds great. I'm fixing to take you all to the land of Oz. I hope you're ready. And thank you all for sharing on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate all of you so much. We're going to go straight to the land of Oz tonight. I hope you're ready. It's a land where the Munchkins are real. The yellow brick road is real. It's a land where little bitty men claim to be big rulers. It's a land where nothing is as it seems. Jody Birdgo says a close pastor to our family lost his son, who was also a pastor, to suicide today. Jody, I have heard of so many pastors that are committing suicide. That is heartbreaking. Please know, Jody, that after this class, we will pray for that sad situation. I'm so sorry to hear that. So in the land of Oz, nothing is as it seems, nothing is real, and I'm going to show you the first clip tonight from the land of Oz. You're going to see two munchkins sitting at a table talking to one another. All right, so people's telling me the volume is low, and others are saying it sounds great. So I don't know. Anyway, everybody's saying they can barely hear me. I don't want to turn it too loud and blow everybody out, but volume is great. Okay, we're going to leave the volume alone. All right, so here we go. The first two munchkins of the evening. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Because if you're drinking anything, if you're drinking tea, or if you're drinking coffee, stop, because you're going to spit it out when you see the first clip tonight. Speaking of coffee and tea, look what Professor Toto just got in the mail today. I wish you would look at Roar 24, Trump, let the win begin. I'm sorry, that light is, look at that. This is exclusive at the Conservative College. You cannot get this anywhere else in the world. Nothing is more beautiful than Roar 24. We created that, and it is, we've designed it. Miss Jill Sydock designed this, and it is exclusively ours. And you can get it right now along with t-shirts and hoodies at theroar24.com. That's theroar, TheRoar 24.com. You can get that right now, and then you can drink that everywhere you go and show everybody who you stand with. So, all right, to the land of the munchkins, I hope you're really ready.
What do you think? I think we're off to a pretty good start.
I think we're off to a great start.
Hard to believe it's 2 years, huh?
Well, just remember where we started and all that was happening in our country. And I think the thing that has motivated us is the resilience, the determination of the American people.
Yeah, they stuck with us.
Right?
I mean,
I wish people could see what I see sometimes. Yeah. I've been in the Oval Office with you when the cameras are there, and mostly when the cameras are not. And what you have singularly done based on who you are, and I mean this in all sincerity, to bring together nations, allies in the world, and you bring folks together in a bipartisan way, uniquely.
Well, you've
been an incredible leader these last 2 years.
All right, so that's our first trip to the land of Oz tonight, and so let me explain what that is. Because Joe Biden is in so much trouble with GarageGate, which gets worse by the day, the White House felt like we all needed a diversion. They felt like we needed these two munchkins to get on a camera at a table and brag on one another. But let me interpret what that video just was. Are you ready? That was Kamala telling Joe Biden, it was fun working with you. Thank you for serving Barack for these 2 years, because Joe, you got to go. That was his farewell speech. That was her letting him know it's nothing personal, Joe. We're going to put this little video out. We're going to brag on you, and we're going to tell everybody what a great, notice she said 2 years, what a great 2 years you've had. And you can see Joe just sitting there sort of knowing what she's saying. He gets that his time is up. Joe's got to go. So this is Kamala giving him pretty much his writing papers, his little pink slip, letting him know that he's got to go. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought you might want to see what's going on in the land of Oz, just so you can see how bad things really are for Joe Biden. When they have to stoop that low to produce this out of the blue thing to brag on Joe, then things are bad. Things must be really, really, really bad. Hey, while I'm doing shout outs tonight, I want to show y'all the cutest video that Miss Lori Boutelier sent to Professor Toto, and it's her and her elderly father that he always watches Professor Toto, never misses a class. And so I'm shouting out tonight, Lori, to you and your dad. Thank you, sir, for watching and supporting us. Y'all got to watch what she sent me. Look at it.
Trump is floundering. They're doing it so dramatically, so offhandedly, so magicianarily. They want you to believe this mess, but the problem is here comes Professor Toto throwing the truth right in your face and right on your screen. Look at it. I want you to look at it. I want you to look at it. This comes from the Morning Consult poll. Donald Trump dominates. Donald Trump is our nominee, ladies and gentlemen, of the Republican Party.
That's right. I love it, man. We have Toto's Army is the finest people on planet Earth. So, Lori, give Dad a big high five from me, and thank you so much, sir, for your loyalty. We appreciate you so very much. If you've got any cute videos, send them to brothervon@gmail.com, and we'll put it up and show the whole world. So let's get back to Joe Biden. You may not have heard the news, so I'm going to give it to you right now. There is breaking news. Another batch of documents has been found on Friday at Joe Biden's home. The latest batch was discovered not only from when he was vice president, but also from when he was a senator. Now, a senator has absolutely no security clearance to possess classified materials. So now you see why Kamala's telling Joe bye, because this is getting worse every day by the minute. So more documents have been found. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but we have more breaking news. And here is that breaking news. There is a discovery of classified documents at Mr. Sanctimonious himself, Mike Pence's home. Mike Pence, there has been classified documents found now and turned over to the archives from a man that basically swore that he had none.
Classified documents with you from the White House?
I did not.
Do you see any reason for anyone to take classified documents with them leaving the White House?
Well, there'd be no reason to have classified documents, particularly if they were in an unprotected area.
Well, there were classified documents, and they were in, as you report, an unprotected area.
Right.
Happening, ladies and gentlemen, is this. We are in a moment where if these documents would have been found at any other time, it would be no big deal. I promise you. If there were classified documents in Joe Biden's house or Mike Pence's house, it would have just gone to the archivist, probably no big deal ever made about it. But here's what happens. Oh, the web we weave when we plan to deceive. When they put their hand against God's anointed, Donald Trump, and went and invaded his home, now what they have done, they have brought the very gallows that they hung for Donald Trump, the very gallows that they meant to hang him on, both of these men are about to be hung on, and Donald Trump will come out the winner in this situation, because now you have more documents at Joe Biden's, and now Mike Pence has documents at his home. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in a moment where everything that can be shaken is being shaken. Now, I want to explain to you these documents that was found at Joe Biden. Let's start with Uncle Joe. Basically, this proves to us that this was just another Russia collusion hoax, the invasion of Mar-a-Lago. What these two things are proving, Biden and Pence, it is verifying that one more time we have a Russia collusion hoax. Now, when they discovered these documents on Friday, what this is proving to us is that it's a ridiculous plot launched to destroy Donald Trump with his home at Mar-a-Lago. But I personally see the sovereign hand of Yahweh, that's God, involved in all of this. The way it is unfolding, I promise you, couldn't be more perfect for a movie. It's like somebody is writing a story and we are living through this perfectly written story. And here's how the story goes. You trap me and you fall in the very trap that you've laid for me. There's an old gospel song that says, when you set your trap, you better set two, because the one you set for me just might be for you. And so this story with Joe Biden is getting more mysterious by the day. And I want to give you a few things that's just not adding up with the Joe Biden story of GarageGate. Number one wonders, gentle reader, one would like to know, Lady Whistledown, one wants to know why fake President Biden, the resident, the octogenarian, why would he send his personal attorneys, who do not have security clearance, by the way, to his Delaware home to search for classified documents? Now, I want you to think about this. If you're going to send someone to search for classified documents, shouldn't it be someone with a security clearance that when they see a classified document, they're authorized to see it? So now Professor Toto is trying to figure out why lawyers were sent to do the work that should have been done by the Justice Department. Someone that actually has credentials to read those documents. Question number two that one wonders about: why, if you're packing up your office at the Penn Biden Center and you're just moving is all you're doing, it's not like, you're just boxing everything up, right? You're just getting everything together. You're just, doing what people do when they move. Nothing really exciting. You're just moving. But Joe Biden would send lawyers to pack up his office. Now, I really need you to think about that tonight, because this has been bothering my brain for a while now. Why are you sending lawyers to pack up your office? Because the last time I checked, on the East Coast, lawyers are now charging like $1,000 an hour. That's an awfully expensive packing crew, don't you think? Unless the intent always was not to pack, but to purge. Okay? I'll say it again. Unless your intent was not to pack. For example, if I'm going to pack, I'm going to grab my little golden apple, my bell. Y'all need to wake up out there anyway. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab this here, and I'm going to get my Patriots Buying Club spray that we spray on our clothes to make them smell good. By the way, if you're not part of the Patriots Buying Club, you can get all the information you need at buybuywalmart.com. That's why we made that website, so you could quit buying products from Walmart. Anyway, so if I'm going to pack up, I'm just going to pack up everything, right? I don't need no lawyers for that. I really don't, especially $1,000 an hour lawyers. So But I think Professor Toto might understand why you're sending your lawyers. The timing is very suspicious. Apparently, this moving crew of lawyers was at Biden's University of Pennsylvania office a week before the midterms. Yes, that midterm, where we were going to have a red wave and we were going to win the House and all the investigative committees. A new sheriff was coming to town, and we were going to have control over all of this. The Republicans had already promised that they were going to spend considerable time wearing out the subpoena power of their committees to investigate Biden and his family. Now, I want you to think about it. Biden has been promised, when they found out there was no way to keep the House, even though Nancy promised that they would, all of a sudden, records that have been in that office, we send lawyers to pack them up. Now, then one wonders, okay, well, how would that save him? It's real simple. Because now if you send your lawyers to get rid of anything damaging, now you can just assert what? Attorney-client privilege, can't you? Instead of having to shred them and instead of having to do those things. You know, I was watching The View, unfortunately. I was going to play the clip for you tonight, but I just don't want to give Whoopi Goldberg any time on my show. But even Whoopi Goldberg admitted, maybe we're just chasing our tail here, because they're finally accepting the fact that presidents do have declassification authority, and that the whole thing about Mar-a-Lago was more Russia collusion hoax. Russia collusion hoax. Now, for those that don't understand how serious it is right now for this entire thing with GarageGate, if you don't know how serious it is, I'm about to show you a video clip that will prove to you just how serious this particular moment is that Joe Biden and what I call the Biden crime family is going through. Because I really believe this is about to explode.
Despite his denials, a CNN review of the laptop data as well as other public material shows that Joe Biden did interact with some of his son's associates while serving as vice president, though it's unclear exactly what was discussed. One example, the Republican site, Miguel Alemán Magnani, a Mexican businessman and son of the former president who Hunter was trying to woo. In 2014, Alemán Magnani and his dad were photographed at the White House with then Vice President Biden. In a later email, Hunter Biden reminds Alemán Magnani of the favors he's done for him. We have been talking about business deals and partnerships for 7 years. I have brought every single person you have ever asked me to bring to the effing White House and the Vice President's house and the inauguration. Hunter Biden bluntly acknowledged the power of the Biden name in a memoir, writing that the Ukrainian energy company Burisma, which put him on its board, considered my last name gold.
I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
Reiterate. Biden lied publicly. He had no dealings with his son's business associates. We know that's not true. Listen, when CNN is being forced to report this, then you've got bigger problems than you realize, okay? So CNN is to the point now where they have been given the green light by Barack Obama to go ahead and put Joe Biden out of the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, I see a resignation coming. And that's why Kamala gave him the little speech that she did today of how good he's done. You done real good, Uncle Joe. You done real good in the 2 years you've been here. But what we're fixing to do to you, Uncle Joe, is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. So I'm preparing you now for what is about to happen. Now, there is breaking news right now that is mind-boggling. I'm going to show you a video clip of the very man that helped kickstart this whole Russia hoax, collusion hoax that Donald Trump had to endure. There's breaking news about that man. Watch.
Top FBI official in the Bureau's New York office has been arrested. 4 senior law enforcement sources say Charles McGonigal faces charges related to violating Russian sanctions and money laundering.
This is a massive and shocking case, Lindsay. We're still going through the details of this news release from the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, but McGonigal was arrested over the weekend, we're reporting, and he's facing 5 counts related to business dealings after he left the FBI in 2018 with a Russian oligarch named Oleg Deripaska, who he had some role in investigating while he was inside the FBI. So this is just a huge black eye, a whiff of corruption here with a former senior FBI official. The head of counterintelligence in the New York office, as Frank Figliuzzi can tell you, is a very important spy hunting job where you're dealing with many counterintelligence officials, issues involving Russia and China. And so he left that job. He began doing business with Russian oligarchs, according to these allegations, and is now charged with money laundering and conspiring to help these oligarchs evade Russia sanctions. So a really big deal, a shocking blow to the FBI. To protect the United States from foreign influence. But what the U.S. government is charging him with today is participating in foreign influence in 2 separate cases. One in that case you mentioned about helping Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska after he left the FBI. But this other case out of Washington, D.C. charges that he accepted $225,000 in cash from a former Albanian intelligence official while he was serving in the FBI as a top counterintelligence agent. And the indictment says that he failed to disclose that income on his financial disclosures, essentially hid a conflict of interest. At one point, he made this same person a confidential FBI source, so he allowed this to influence, they're saying, his FBI work.
One of the senior FBI agents in charge of the Trump collusion probe, he was working with Russia, remember that? The agent's name is Charles McGonigal. That same guy has just been charged, in apparently collusion with Russia, a money laundering scheme with Russia. So that's a little bit shocking, right? A Russian oligarch gave this guy money. So this is the same FBI that is now conducting the investigation of Joe Biden. There's a lot going on here. And in the mountain of reporting on this, one thing struck out to us, and it's from a Miranda Devine piece in the New York Post today. And in it, she quotes from a long email that Hunter Biden sent to his business partner in 2014 before a trip to Ukraine. And that email makes it very clear that Hunter Biden was reading classified information he got from his father in violation, clear violation of federal law. It's very obviously true. And if it can be proven true, and we think it can be proven true, they're done.
They're done. The day is coming. The moment is coming. Listen, here's the way it works, my fellow Americans. There are some things that you don't touch, that you don't interfere with, and that is the sovereign will of God. I'm going to prove to you tonight why I believe that Donald Trump is in that sovereign will. At the end of this class tonight, I believe your eyes are going to come wide open when I begin to speak to you about the demons at Davos, because you need to know the battle that you are in and your position in that battle. There is a war that we're all involved in, and it is no longer politics. I've never been into politics. So many of you that's watching me tonight was not into politics. And I'm going to give you a huge announcement right now. You're still not into politics because this is war. This is not politics. This is the soul of our nation. This is the future of our children. This is not politics anymore. It has grown into something so much bigger. And what you just saw was the very thing, watch this, in 1 to 2 weeks, I want to show you what's happened. The very thing that they accused Donald Trump of, the very thing, Russian collusion, financially benefiting from Russia. It was their very own agent that was doing what they were accusing Donald Trump of. And God has revealed it, just like they were accusing Donald Trump of what? Documents, classified, stealing classified documents. And what now have they, you see, the web we weave when we plan to deceive, ladies and gentlemen. There is a turning around that is happening in the spirit. There is a turning around where they're literally eating their own. They are literally turning on their own. When I watch Whoopi Goldberg say, are we just chasing our own tail? That's the same thing as eating their own. They believe in their minds that Donald Trump is over with. I had a phone call before I came on this class tonight in this classroom, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that phone call. It was with a family member that is a conservative. He is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump in the past. He and I had an interesting call, and I've got a feeling that his call represents what a lot of you are thinking. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to show you the mindset of this nation right now, or the mainstream media, of this nation. In their minds, Donald Trump has not only been crucified, but he is actually in the grave. Now, before I show you, well, tell you what, let me show that to you and I'll come back and explain it.
We know everything we need to know about Donald Trump and his political strengths and weaknesses. We know, I'm not even talking about the personality, the threats to democracy, or the pathological lying. I'm just saying we now know where Trump can perform and where he can't perform, what he can and can't do, what his ceiling and floor are as a presidential candidate. There are voters he'll never get. There are places he'll never be competitive. And there's so many of them now that there's no world in which Donald Trump could, no imaginable world in which Donald Trump could ever win a popular majority in America, in the American electorate. And the narrow needle that he needs to thread in the Electoral College has gotten narrower and narrower. He's getting close to, not unelectable yet, but the deficits he carries into that race are so huge and so well known and specified that if the Republican Party were a rational body with a single mind, there's no world in which he would be the nominee. We know everything we need.
This is where they are. There's no world where Donald Trump will be the nominee. Ladies and gentlemen, they are messaging this so much. They are messaging it out so much that even some of our own people are beginning to be persuaded by this kind of talk. People that love Donald Trump, but they're hearing what you just heard, totally unelectable. And did you notice the poll numbers at the bottom? Biden 49, Trump 41. They feel like if they can message that enough, that you will begin to look for another candidate. I believe God has called me to keep Donald Trump in your face. And that is why every show for the last, I don't know how long, at least a year, for the last year, I have played a song at the beginning of my show, Donald Trump saying, "Hold on, I'm coming." I feel like that's my calling right now, to keep that truth in your mind so that these lies like this one right here doesn't get deep inside.
He's fading fast. He's a proven loser. He cost us the House in 18. He cost us the White House in 20. He cost us the Senate again and again. And I think we all know that. And I think we're moving past Trump. I really think that's the case. I can't imagine him getting the nomination, frankly.
So can I give you the truth now? You just heard the lie. Can I give you the truth so you can write it in your notes? So you never believe when a proven loser like Ryan tells you that Donald Trump is a proven loser. Are you ready for the truth? Put it in your little notepad, your handy dandy notepad. Here's the truth. Donald Trump won against all odds in 2016. Put that in your little notebook. Roll it up and smoke it as a truth pipe. Donald Trump won in 2020 with more votes than he won in 2016. Wrap that up in your little pipe, smoke that. That's truth. Donald Trump won the House of Representatives over from MAGA and took it away from the rhinos and the Democrats. Roll that up, roll it up tight in your little doobie roll and puff on that one, because that's the truth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's another truth. Donald Trump will win in 2024, and he'll win the nomination in 2023 this year. Ladies and gentlemen, you must stop believing what they're telling you, because it is not the truth. You're hearing the truth right now, and it's priceless, and you need to buy that truth and sell it not. Just like when somebody like Paul Ryan says Trump's a loser, while Paul Ryan really is the loser. He went from the Speaker of the House to being on the board at Fox News. I mean, really? Who's the loser here? So don't believe these lies. Now I want to talk to you about the strategy of the enemy. And I'm going to show you how many of you that I love dearly, you know I love you. I love you enough to tell you the truth. Some of you have fallen into the trap laid by the Democrats. You don't realize that you have. But I'm fixing to show you from their own mouth what their plan is. And then I'm going to come back after this little clip and show how you, some of you, not all of you, have fallen for the trap. You're falling. They knew you would. This is their plan. And if it works, it's only because you've allowed it to work. Listen carefully.
Seems to me that the sort of potential leading contenders for the nomination, and I say that with a big asterisk because I still think Donald Trump is a front runner, have found pieces of Trump's message that they want to co-opt, right? Like Mike Pence is going for religion, which granted wasn't something that Trump necessarily had all these bona fides in, but the evangelical base was with him at the end in 2016. Pence is going for that. Ron DeSantis is going for the culture warrior stuff, whether that's anti-vax or the CRT stuff, all of his stuff on LGBTQ, trans community, marginalization. Nikki Haley is trying to bring us back to the America as a global power, the sort of foreign policy piece that Trump largely abdicated on, but was a core part of the America First message in its first iteration. Do you think there's one part of this puzzle where Trump is weakest, where he is most, I think, vulnerable to an outsider to come and take the mantle away from him?
Yeah, I think he's most vulnerable in two areas. One is just success efficacy, particularly on things like immigration, right? I think it'd be very easy for someone like a Ron DeSantis, to come in and say, hey, look at all the things that we did in Florida. You know, the viewers here might be grossed out by many of those policies. The Stop Woke Act, Don't Be So Gay, but I implemented them. I got them done. You said you were going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it. There's no wall. Mexico didn't pay, right? So I think that there's an efficacy argument, particularly in the area of immigration, where Trump is vulnerable. And then I think COVID is the other area where he's vulnerable. I think it's an open question whether in 2023 that will still be an animating issue. But let me tell you, Alex, I went down to the Turning Point USA Charlie Kirk's group conference to cover that right before Christmas. And every speaker was talking about attacking the Democrats on COVID, attacking Fauci, talking about prosecuting Fauci. And I think Trump, both on, Operation Warp Speed, which is maybe the best thing he did, speeding up the vaccine, and on kind of going along with some of the lockdowns and some of the COVID mitigation efforts. I think that this might seem like we're in the upside down, that's where he would be vulnerable, but might be where he's the most vulnerable, as that he could get kind of positioned as, oh, you went in with the establishment, with the medical establishment and the elites, when Ron DeSantis, for example, zagged the other direction to listen to the people and what the MAGA voter wanted.
Wow. From the man who was advocating hydroxychloroquine, he's now too mainstream for the GOP.
Let me break that down, and I need everybody to listen before I talk about Davos. Listen, please listen. That was the enemy you just heard. That's the other side. I always listen to them to know the strategy. So many of you are so stuck. Not that you're wrong, but you're so stuck on the vaccines. And you just heard the enemy say that Donald Trump's vulnerability with you, she was asking him, what would cause Donald Trump? Where will the people turn on him? She said, number one, Mike Pence is going for Donald Trump's religious base. She said, Ron DeSantis is going for those cultural warriors. Nikki Haley is going for that foreign dominance. Every one of these men are taking a part of the MAGA message and going to build their identity on a portion of Donald Trump. Whereas Donald Trump is the whole enchilada, baby. But she said, now these three people in the primaries, where could they get Trump? And he said, because Trump supported Operation Warp Speed. Now, no matter what you feel about these vaccines, and you know what I believe about them, if you allow the trap to work, do you understand now why Trump cannot say anything against the vaccines? This is what they are waiting for him to fall into the trap where they can totally destroy him with the independents, because the independents think there's nothing wrong with the vaccines and that it saved lives. All right, Donald Trump must have some of those independent voters. We need to wake up and smell Toto's coffee. We need to quit trying to outsmart Donald Trump, because what they are depending on is Pence taking the religious base, DeSantis taking the cultural warriors, and Nikki Haley taking the foreign policy, all parts of the base of MAGA. And then they're depending on honing in on him being too weak on the vaccines. Ladies and gentlemen, it's already working, even on many of you, because you don't have the foresight to see where Donald Trump will be doomed if he does, doomed if he doesn't, and then lose the White House. Now, if that's what you want, if you're that short-sighted that it is your issue, then you are doing your nation a great injustice. Because Donald Trump, yes, he had to produce a vaccine. And yes, he had to do it quickly. And yes, I wish he would shut up talking about it. But he is in a catch-22, because if he says something against them, then all those deaths will be laid at his feet. If he says something for them, then a portion of his supporters are going to fall away like they're already doing. And then the enemy wins. We cannot let it happen. We must unite around God's man for this hour. Imperfect as he may be, we must surround him. And now I want to explain why. I want to talk to you about the demons of Davos. Right under our noses last week, there was a gathering of superhumans, as they think of themselves, the elites, and they gathered in a place to determine your destiny. They believe that you're not able to determine that destiny for yourself. But what I find amazing about this demonic gathering at Davos is I find that even though it's so very important, that hardly anyone even knows that it took place. The only reason some of you know is you watch my show. But most people do not know what happened at Davos this week. First of all, this meeting took place at the highest point in all of Europe, in the Swiss mountains. Davos is the highest village in those Swiss Alps. Now, I found that interesting because as a Bible student, all through the Old Testament, Yahweh, God, promised to destroy the high places of the pagans and the demons and the witchcraft workers, because in ancient Celtic days, they would always look for the highest hill or the highest mountain for their demonic angelic worshiping fallen angels. And God always had something to do. As a matter of fact, I did a little word search today for high places, and it's shocking how many times Yahweh spoke about demonic activity in high places. And here we have a group of elites that have gathered together at the highest place in Europe to determine your destiny. Now, before I tell you about this meeting and I share with you what I believe from God's word about this meeting, I want you to hear a few clips from that meeting.
Stop and think about it. It's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. And if you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, do-gooder, whatever. And there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
If you look at all the new electricity generation installed worldwide, 90% of it was renewable. It's now the cheapest source of electricity in almost the entire planet.
I don't think everybody realizes that we all have to do this. We all have to do step number one. We have to commit to being net zero. We have to reduce our emissions. We have no choice.
How can you advocate for these zero carbon value chains if you still eat meat? And so I stopped eating meat. But if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact.
So we need to act together to close the emissions gap. And that means to phase out progressively coal and supercharge the renewable revolution, to end the addiction to fossil fuels and to stop our self-defeating war on nature.
Term fake news and then disinformation, it was popularized 6 years ago at this point. Where are we today versus then?
Terms like fake news and enemies of the people have been popularized cyclically in society and in some of the most, repressive and dangerous moments, Nazi Germany, Stalinist Russia, right? This question of disinformation, I think it maps basically to every other major challenge that we are grappling with as a society, and particularly the most existential among them.
Maybe I'm the only one that thinks it's a little creepy that these elites, superhumans, they just said they're superhumans, have gathered at the highest point in Europe, and according to their own press release, they are gathered together to master the future. I want you to think about those words. They've gathered in Switzerland to shape the agenda of the entire planet. And they just told you their agenda. They believe that they are saving the world. Whenever Klaus Schwab, whenever he got up to speak about mastering the future, he told how that we all, every single one of us, must do this. Go back and listen to the clip. They said we must do this, and then they begin to lay out and pontificate what they believe are the world's biggest problems in our future. Now, none of those problems have to do with family life or morals or no. That's not the problem. They want to master the future, become leaders of our world. However, they're wanting to save the future and they are wanting to lead us. However, in Switzerland, prostitution is legal. And according to all of the websites there, every escort, every prostitute in Switzerland was there at Davos because there was such a demand from these leaders that want to master our future. These demons cannot rule without humans. And I'm going to say something else that's going to shock some of you. It's going to go against your theology, and I understand. But if you'll listen to me and don't hang up, you'll get what I'm trying to tell you. Demons are spiritual creatures. They live in high places. They desire to destroy mankind. They cannot do that because, number one, they cannot manifest. They don't have hands. They don't have tongues to talk with that where we can hear them anyway. In another dimension they do, but not in the fleshly realm. So they have an agenda. Now, to get that agenda passed, guess what they need? They need host bodies. They need bodies that will host them so that they can speak through those bodies and master the future. They need men that are evil in their hearts, that has no regard for Yahweh or His Word, where they've become reprobates in their minds, so that these demon powers can operate through these men. Now, I'm fixing to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt, if you believe the Bible, that these were demonic spirits that were just talking to you on your screen through these superhumans. I'm going to show you right now what these people on this panel, what their agenda said, what came out of their mouths. Number one, they're going to save the planet. First of all, that is witchcraft. That's witchcraft. Because there is one creator of this planet. One. And there is only one that's going to save this planet. His name is Yeshua, also known as Jesus, the Son of Yahweh, the Son of God. He is going to return very soon to save this planet. He's going to set up his kingdom for 1,000 years right here on earth. And many of you that are alive will rule with him. Those that are dead, that are blessed enough to come up in the first resurrection, will rule with him to save the planet. And the Bible said that anything that man thinks he's God. Man thinks he has the power to save a planet when he can't even save a penny. Man thinks he's got this plan to save our planet. That's demonic, it's witchcraft, and it's a lie. And the Bible said anyone that loves a lie hates God. There's not a man on this planet that has one iota of an idea how to save our planet. None. Now, there is a way to save our planet, but it's too late. We could have saved it from the beginning if we as a people would not have eaten the very animals that clean our planet. As a matter of fact, I was in New York a few weeks ago. We were at the Statue of Liberty, and the guide said something that made me go, all right, thank you, Lord. He was showing us the bay, the water, where the Statue of Liberty is. And it's dirty. The water looks horrible. He says, do you know at one time you could see the bottom of this water? It was so crystal clear. And he said, but we had a huge oyster industry here that took all the oysters out of the water, and now the water's destroyed. That's because Yahweh created certain animals to clean our planet, to preserve it. If all of the shrimp was back in our oceans would be healed. If all the catfish was back in our rivers would be healed. But the Bible said that man's God is his belly. And therefore, we could have saved the planet. But these dummies that think they're superhuman don't even know the very basics for saving our planet. Yahweh knew. That's why he told his children what to eat and what not to eat to save the planet. But it's too late for that now. So now these demons think they have a better plan. One of their plans is this: to eat no more meat. Did you not hear the video? Did you hear that demon speaking? That's why I have preached for years against the spirit of vegetarianism. That is a new age way of thinking. It was Yahweh that gave us animals to eat and animals not to eat. For anyone to tell you not to eat an animal, it's demonic. Tell them I said it. No, don't tell them I said it. No, don't tell them I said it. Rewind. Tell them God said it. Are you ready? I'll show you. I want to prove to you it was a demon that was just talking to you. And I'm going to show it to you in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the last days some will depart from the faith. They will give heed, or they will listen to seducing spirits, or in other words, demons at Davos that will speak to you through the mouths of their host. And notice what they're going to tell you to do in verse 3. They will disregard marriage. Marriage will mean nothing. Family will mean nothing. They will tell you that marriage is not that big of a deal. Divorce is cool. Let's have divorce parties. And notice the next thing they'll seduce you with. They'll tell you not to eat meat, which Yahweh has created to be received with thanksgiving of them which know the truth. In other words, if you don't know to eat meat, you don't know the truth. Vegetarianism is a new age doctrine of devils, and I hope Right Wing Watch clips it and puts it all over, Yahweh created animals to eat. Yeah, I'll say it again. He created them to eat. But these demons at Davos, these seducing spirits, want to save a planet that they've destroyed in rebellion by eating the very unclean animals that Yahweh said is to save the planet, to clean the planet. But these demons don't want to walk in obedience, no, to the law, the Torah, the Word of God. They want to walk in rebellion and then tell you they've got a plan to save the planet when they can't save a penny. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me. I come to preach to you tonight. I come to tell you we're living in the last days where these demons of Davos are working night and day to master our future. You ought to eat more animals now than you ever ate in your life. Just make sure they're clean. Now, let me show you something. Their agenda is wide open borders. Wide open borders. That's their agenda. They don't believe America should have borders. No. Well, let me show you why that's a demonic doctrine as well. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's Yahweh, God, that set up borders, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. Numbers 34:2. The land of Canaan to its borders. Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High divided their inheritance to the nations. When he separated people and he set the boundaries or the borders of the people. So their agenda is world peace, world unity. Get rid of the borders. Whereas Yahweh said, no, I'm separating the people because I don't want world peace yet. Anybody that's advocating for world peace is a demon speaking through that person. Oh, they're going to clip that one, y'all. That one's going to get clipped. Watch what I'm telling you. There can be no world peace because Yahweh said there would be wars and rumors of wars. The nations would be angry until his son returns, the Prince of Peace, to establish his kingdom on the earth, and then there will be peace at last and goodwill towards men. That time is not now. Those demons want world peace, but the children of God want a world ruler by the name of Yeshua that will return and set up his Father's glorious kingdom here on earth for all of his wonderful children. Hallelujah. You're hearing the truth tonight. This stuff may sound strange to you, but if you think in your heart something's ringing in my spirit, go to fhtv.tv and watch our sermons. You'll find truth there. God said, I set up the borders. I separate the people because I don't want world peace. But the next time someone says, I'm praying for world peace, you tell them they're praying a demonic prayer. We're told not to pray for world peace. We're only told to pray for one peace, and I'll find the scripture for you. Don't go anywhere. I'm talking about these demons of Davos. The Bible doesn't say pray for world peace. It said pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That's the only peace. Psalms 122:6. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Why does he want us to pray that? Because that's when Yeshua will return and bring peace. Ladies and gentlemen, these demons at Davos, you better see the spirits, the seducing spirits that are working through them. What does this have to do with Donald Trump, Pastor Vaughn? Everything, Professor Toto, I'm sorry, not Pastor Vaughn. That's on Saturday mornings. By the way, if you love truth, you ought to join me on Saturday mornings, 10 o'clock Central, live Zoom Bible study. The link is in the description box below. What does this have to do with Donald Trump? Everything. Because everything you just heard from those demons in the high places of Davos is the total opposite of what you heard from Donald Trump. The total opposite. Nothing like the message that Donald Trump brought to America. I'll let you listen now to hear the difference. I thought I would. Bear with me 1 second. I thought I had it right here. I want you to hear the difference in Donald Trump.
I'm here today to represent the interests of the American people. The world is witnessing the resurgence of a strong and prosperous America. I'm here to deliver a simple message. There has never been a better time to hire, to build, to invest, and to grow in the United States. Regulation is stealth taxation. The U.S., like many other countries, unelected bureaucrats, and we have, believe me, we have them all over the place, and they've imposed crushing and anti-business and anti-worker regulations on our citizens with no vote, no legislative debate, and no real accountability. In America, those days are over. As President of the United States, I will always protect the interests of our country, our companies, and our workers. We are lifting self-imposed restrictions on energy production to provide affordable power to our citizens and businesses and to promote energy security for our friends all around the world. No country should be held hostage to a single provider of energy. America is roaring back, and now is the time to invest in the future of America.
America first, nationalism, sovereignty, capitalism, the loosing of government control, America first. Let me ask all of you something. When you were listening to those demons of Davos, do you think you were hearing the spirit of our founding fathers? Do you think you were listening to Adams and Hamilton and Washington and Madison and all of these, Jefferson? Do you think you were hearing the spirit of 1776 in those demons of Davos? You were hearing the diabolical opposite of what America is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you must stand with Donald Trump. You must know he's not just a man. He's God's man. He is your man. He's your children's man. He's your grandchildren's man. Yes, he's just a man. But remember what I told you about the demons of Davos, how they look for a body to use in the earthly realm. So does God, Yahweh. He is spirit. If he's going to do his will on the earth as it is in heaven, he must have a man. And when you rebel against that man, when you stand against that man, you have stood against the God that anointed that man, the God that appointed that man, the God that chose that man. These demons want to turn you to Ron DeSantis. They want to turn you to Nikki Haley and Pence. But you must remain focused and know who Donald Trump is. Imperfect. He's fallible. He is far from perfect. But God has never needed a perfect man. He has only needed a willing man. You must stay in this fight, ladies and gentlemen. You must never lose focus and listen to those seducing spirits of Davos, those demons at Davos. Tonight, before I leave, I've stayed way too long. I'm 15 minutes past my schedule. But I want to leave you with a few words from a book that I've been looking at. It's called And There Was Light by John Meacham. He talks about Abraham Lincoln. Donald Trump has been raised to be a trumpet to America. The last trumpet, I don't know, but a trumpet. A trumpet has always been a biblical symbol of a message. So when you hear the word trump, remove that word from your mind and replace it with message. Donald Trump or Donald's message. He brought a message to America to believe in our way of life, in a nation that God raised up to be first, that we might lead the world, be first in leading the way. There was another man that was raised up for a certain period in our history by the name of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln understood that curses are caused by disobedience and rebellion to God's law. Abraham Lincoln knew that. I want to read to you a small clip from this book called And There Was Light. Because in this book, Abraham Lincoln, at his second inaugural address, told our nation that if we did not repent of our sin, we would face God's wrath. When he stood up that day, I want to read to you what happened. And now I'm quoting from And There Was Light. The day of Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address presented an ominous metaphor to a republic ravaged by civil war. There was a cold, miserable rain that greeted the exhausted congregation who gathered before the U.S. Capitol to hear their chief executive officer implore renewed dedication to the struggle. But as the president rose, the skies cleared and the sun began to shine. It was as if God himself pined to hear his humble servants appeal to heaven. Yet rather than ushering in the dawn of a glorious future, Lincoln delivered a sermon. The American president delivered a sermon at his inaugural address. On that day, March of 1865, Lincoln asked his fellow citizens to consider why God wrung out American blood to effect his holy will in accounting for the nation's sin. When Lincoln surrendered his life, his beloved Union had survived at the point of his death. He departed this world conscious of Providence's guiding hand, for he had been a tool of God during his moment on earth. John Meacham's effective chronicle surveys far more than the life of Lincoln. It is the story of us and our daily struggle to see the light. At the moment of Lincoln's death, he believed he had been a tool of God during his moment on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the same thing about Donald Trump, that he is a tool of God to stop the demons of Davos who want your children to think you're strange, who want the next generation to forbid marriage. That's what First Timothy said, that in the last days marriage would become a joke. A woman could marry a woman or a man. They would turn marriage into something unholy. That would be the sign from the demons of Davos. They would get in your mind to disregard holy things. They don't want you to eat cows to try to save the planet. Donald Trump rose up and said, not only do you need to eat your cows, go buy you a cattle ranch. We're going to release the restrictions. This is why, no matter what, you cannot listen to these people in your ear that's telling you what somebody told me on the phone tonight. I'm just getting tired of all the hateful talk and all of the, ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting tired of the battle, then you were not born for the battle. We're no longer in politics. I told you at the beginning of tonight's class, we're so beyond politics. We're in a war between the demons of Davos and the divine work of God in the end times. May God bless you and the United States of America. Good night.
I ask not for riches, I ask not for fame, I ask for the nation in Jesus' name. I ask for congregation sing, I ask for America. I ask for America. I call her by name. I present her to the Father in Jesus' name. Said